I've been working as a structural damage assessor for nearly 10 years. The job is exactly what the name implies. A building gets destroyed, whether by fire, flood, a gas explosion, or structural collapse. After the emergency crews are done, after the site is cleared, and after everyone who ever cared about the building goes home, I step in. I inspect what's left. I document the damage. I write a report for the city, the contractor, or the insurance company, telling them whether the building can be saved or if it needs to be torn down. I go in alone. I leave alone. I write the report, and then I move on to the next one. 10 years of this. Dozens of ruined buildings. It doesn't affect you the way people think it does. After a while, a destroyed house is just a destroyed house. You stop seeing what it used to be, and you start seeing load-bearing walls and the path of least resistance through something trying to collapse. I'm telling you all this now because I need someone else to know. The first house was in February. A gas leak had blown out the kitchen and most of the ground floor, leaving the upper floor looking as if nothing had happened except for smoke stains on the ceiling and blown-out windows. I've seen it 100 times. The blast travels the path of least resistance, and everything above it stays intact, structurally sound, but completely exposed. I documented the ground floor, noted a compromised load-bearing wall on the north side, and went upstairs to check the structural integrity of the second floor. 3 bedrooms. 2 of them were exactly what I expected. Smoke damage, cracked plaster walls from the ceiling shifting, and furniture tossed around by the blast pressure. But the 3rd bedroom, at the very end of the hallway, was untouched. The bed was made, its dark green comforter pulled tight and neat. There was a nightstand with a glass of water and an ashtray. A pack of cigarettes sat right next to a lighter. I noted it in my report. Room structurally sound. Personal property undisturbed. Recommend content evaluation prior to demolition. I took my photos and I moved on. I didn't think about it again. Not until the second house. The second house was in March. An electrical fire in an old neighborhood on the east side of the county. The fire had started in the walls, eating the building from the inside out before anyone even smelled smoke. By the time the trucks arrived, there wasn't much left of the first floor or the east wing, but the west wing was still standing. I went through the west wing room by room, documenting smoke logging, heat damage to the ceiling joists, and 3 spots where the subfloor had turned soft. At the end of the hallway, there was a bedroom. I opened the door and my breath caught. A made bed, a dark green comforter pulled tight, a nightstand with a glass of water, an ashtray, and a pack of cigarettes next to a lighter. I stood in the doorway for a long time. Then, I pulled out my phone and looked at the photos from the February house. It was the exact same comforter, the exact same ashtray, the exact same arrangement on the nightstand. I did what any sane person does. I rationalized it. Cheap lighters and ashtrays are common. Plenty of smokers keep their cigarettes on their nightstands. It was just a coincidence. Old houses, similar tastes. Nothing more. I wrote the report and moved on. But then came the 3rd house in April. Water damage from a water main break downtown, in one of those narrow 3-story buildings that used to be shops on the ground floor and apartments above. The ground floor was gutted. The 1st and 2nd floors were heavily waterlogged. Floors warped. Plaster walls sagging. Mold already blooming in the corners. The 3rd floor, at the end of the hall. I opened the door, and a tight knot formed in my chest. Only this time, the bed wasn't perfectly made. The comforter was pulled up, but there was a slight indentation in the pillow. Like someone had been lying there, got up, and made the bed in a hurry, missing the final neat tuck, and there was a cigarette in the ashtray. A half-smoked cigarette. The ash was perfectly intact, sitting there as if it had been put down and left. I took photos for a long time. I measured the room. I compared the wallpaper pattern to my photos from the first two houses. It was the exact same faded spot near the window, the exact same place where the paper had lifted slightly. I went home, looked up the wallpaper pattern online, and found out it had been discontinued in 1987. The manufacturer didn't even exist anymore. I submitted my report. I chose not to mention the room. I didn't sleep well that night. The fourth house was in May. I almost skipped it. I sat in my truck outside for 15 minutes before I could bring myself to open the door. Fire damage, residential, on the edge of the county. A single-family home. I went through the motions on the lower floors, documented everything, took my photos. Upstairs, at the end of the hallway, I opened the door. Of course, it was the same thing. Except the mattress. I know my mattress. I bought it 4 years ago, after an old nerve injury started making my back ache. It was my mattress. I tried to think of every logical explanation, but there was none. I took a photo of the mattress tag. When I got home, I checked my own bed. Same model, same manufacturing date code. I poured myself a drink, sat at my kitchen table for a long time, and told myself there must be thousands of these mattresses in the county. Then I went to bed. The fifth house was last week. I knew before I even opened the door at the end of the hallway. I'd known since the fourth house where this was heading. Still, I turned the knob. A part of me needed to see it. The room was mine, completely mine. I've had that landscape print since my mother died. I kept it because she gave it to me, not because I like it. And there was the specific bleach spot on the fitted sheet from last summer, when I spilled a cleaning solution and didn't notice until laundry day, all of it. Sitting inside a ruined building on the east side of Chiswick, in a room that smelled faintly of clover. And the bed was occupied. I couldn't see a face. The body was lying on its side, turned away from me, the comforter pulled over its shoulder. But I could see my own frame. My hair on the pillow, the exact way I sleep when I'm exhausted, with my arm tucked completely underneath me. I stood in that doorway for what felt like hours. Then I closed the door very quietly, walked back down the hallway, left the building, and got into my truck. I drove home. I am writing this from my kitchen table right now. It's 11 o'clock at night. When I got home tonight, I walked upstairs, stood at the entrance of my bedroom, and looked at my room for a very long time. The bed is made. I never make my bed. The nightstand is completely clear. No charging cord, no glass of water, no clutter. The bleached sheet is gone. The landscape print my mother gave me is gone. The mattress is made with sheets I don't recognize, tucked tightly at the corners. My bedroom looks like a room where nobody lives. It looks exactly like the room I found the very first time, untouched, like someone just stepped out. I don't know where I've been sleeping. I don't know how long I've been gone. I'm going to call my friend Dave tomorrow. We're supposed to get beers on Saturday anyway. I've worked in babysitting before. It's usually a quick way to make some easy cash without putting in much effort. But when I spotted this particular ad on a forum, the massive payout caught my eye immediately. Babysitter wanted. Friday night, from midnight until 4 a.m. I liked that the hours were strictly defined. With some parents, they promise to be back early, show up hours late, and then refuse to pay for overtime. This ad was simple, but it didn't mention anything about kids. I called the number. When I asked about the children, there was a long silence on the other end. There is no child, ma'am," the voice finally said. "I just need you to sit on this box for a while." "What do you mean?" I asked. "I mean, sit on it for 4 hours straight, so whatever is inside doesn't get out." "Do you believe in demons?" "No, not really. Even better," he replied. "I was cursed a while ago. Since then, I've been receiving boxes or packages in the mail. If I open them, there's nothing inside. But if they aren't weighed down, Something strange crawls out at night. That's how my ex-boyfriend disappeared. I didn't believe it back then, until I woke up one day to find the box open, empty, and him gone. I don't really know what else to tell you. That's all I know. I'll mail the package to you. You don't even have to come to my house. You can just mail it back in the morning. You won't have to sit on it every night, just when I'm out of town and can't do it myself. To be honest, I thought it was kind of hilarious. We met at a park, and she showed me the box. I inspected it, opened it. It was completely empty, and turned it over looking for hidden cameras, microphones, or anything suspicious. It was just a plain wooden box. Nothing to show, nothing to hide. I took it home. I sat on it just before midnight, scrolling through my phone. I was a bit curious, but I wasn't about to waste my time. I'd sit on it from midnight until 4 a.m. for $200. End of discussion. Oh, and it might try to trick you, she had warned me. Your phone might ring, or the doorbell, anything like that, just to make you stand up. Do not listen. Sure. Easiest $200 I've ever made. I sat on the wooden lid and watched short videos on my phone. My chest felt strangely warm, and somewhere around 1 a.m., I felt a faint throb inside the box. It vibrated slightly. It was actually a little thrilling, I won't lie. Around 2 a.m., I heard a distinct knocking from inside the box. I locked my phone. Was I imagining things? It didn't happen again. I started getting drowsy, so I played a stupid game on my phone to stay awake. Around 3:44 a.m., I received a text from the woman who posted the ad, asking if anything weird had happened. No, everything is fine, I replied. Okay, you can get up now, the reply came. I decided to wait until exactly 4 a.m. just to be safe. And thank God I did, because the next day, the owner of the box claimed she had never sent a single text that night. When I checked, the text message I swore I received had vanished completely. Was I losing my mind? Wow. It had tried to trick me into standing up early. Clever. Over the next 5 months, I sat on boxes 15 more times. The woman explained that whenever she received a new box in the mail, she knew she could get rid of the old one. If she tried to throw one away before a new one arrived, it would just get mailed back to her. I had to sit on shoe boxes, closed baskets, which were pretty uncomfortable, and once on a tightly sealed suitcase that made a wet, scraping sound every time I shifted my weight. The strangest experience happened around the 7th or 8th time. I heard a loud, violent crash upstairs. I live alone, and it was around 2 a.m., but I couldn't go check for obvious reasons. I just sat there and waited until 4 a.m. to see what happened. When I finally checked, everything was normal. Nothing was out of place. Another time, I heard my cat meowing from inside the box. Nice try, Sam, I remembered thinking. If you're really in there, you can wait another hour. You won't die. When the time was up, I opened it and found nothing inside. I had become immune to its tricks. Nothing could make me stand up. There was definitely something demonic happening, something I couldn't explain, but I was smart enough not to disobey the rule. Then, she forwarded the latest package to me. When I opened the delivery, I found a small chess box inside, the kind that unfolds to reveal a chessboard with strange engravings on the sides. Inside were a few chess pieces. The faces of the king and queen were grotesque. Their eyes filled me with such dread that I quickly put them back and snapped the lid shut. Looks creative, I muttered to myself. Because of its small size, I could sit on it while staying in my bed, so it required almost no effort. I took it upstairs to my bedroom and started the job. Around 2 a.m., my doorbell rang. Nothing unusual, but the ringing didn't stop. Then came a violent pounding on the door, followed by dead silence. Suddenly, I heard footsteps entering the house and moving downstairs. I knew it was trying to trick me, but it was still terrifying. Thud, thud, thud. Coming up the stairs, I felt relieved that I had locked my bedroom door. It made me feel safe, even though I knew the real danger was supposed to be inside the chess box I was sitting on. The footsteps stopped in the hallway. In the heavy silence, I could hear breathing, heavy, ragged breaths. It sounded like someone trying to suppress overwhelming excitement. Oh my God, calm down. The threat isn't real. It can't hurt you as long as you stay seated. Then, fingers began tapping on my bedroom door. The blood was pumping in my ears. My chest felt hollow. Every breath felt like pushing a boulder up a hill. Please let it be 4 a.m. already. Please. The doorknob turned, but the locked door held. This is just a hallucination, I told myself. One of the worst ones yet. The footsteps started moving back downstairs, but in a bizarre, frantic rhythm. It sounded like a twisted, mad waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Jesus! I was hyperventilating. I dialed the woman's number. Hey, this might be my last gig, because things are getting way too intense here, I whispered. What do you mean? She asked. There's someone dancing downstairs, man. He was just standing outside my bedroom door. I know it's all a hallucination, but it's seriously messing with my head. I'm finishing tonight, but after this, you'll need to find someone else. I'm so sorry to hear that, she said. Well, you only have 1 hour left before you can leave it. Yeah, are you having fun at your party? I asked, trying to distract myself. Yeah, but you can still call me if you get scared. Just don't stand up, please, whatever happens. I mean, it's not even uncomfortable right now because I'm lying on my bed. Sort of. You're lying in bed? She asked, her tone shifting. Yeah. The rhythm of the dancing downstairs grew faster, louder. But how? Did you put the box on your bed? I mean, it's a chess box. It's tiny. Another long, agonizing pause. What do you mean, a chess box? Her voice came out choked. That's what you damn well mailed me. No, I mailed you a cardboard box. Well, yeah. That was the outer packaging. You can't just mail a chess box by itself. The postal service wraps it. No, it was an empty cardboard box. It was small, but it definitely was not a chess box. I don't know what you found inside it, but I sent it empty. Did you get the real box in a larger package? Please, for the love of God, tell me you didn't get tricked. The blood drained from my face. Downstairs, the dancing continued. Mocking, loud, and triumphant. You can't mail a chess box on its own, I stammered, panic finally setting in. You weren't supposed to receive a chess box at all. What the hell is that? Please tell me you didn't leave the cardboard box unattended. It was just the packaging, I replied, on the verge of tears. No, 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 no. She sounded like she was collapsing. Suddenly, the dancing downstairs stopped. I remembered the cardboard box that arrived in the mail. It was roughly the same size as the chess box inside it. Everything I had sat on before had been empty. Suddenly, I wasn't sure what I had been sitting on for the past 3 hours. What if I had hallucinated that the real box just contained another box inside it? That had never happened before. Was I literally sitting on nothing right now? Breaking the absolute silence, a long, mocking whistle echoed from downstairs. I realized with horror that I had never locked my bedroom door. If I had left the real cardboard box unattended downstairs, damn it. Or is this another trick? Did I hallucinate this phone call? Is it trying to make me stand up? Time is almost up, but now I can hear someone walking up the stairs. What do I do now? What do I do? When I was 8 years old, my dad bought me a cheap, gray little voice recorder from Radio Shack. Back then, I used it for absolutely everything. I recorded myself screaming commercial jingles. I recorded my mom constantly telling me to stop recording her. I even recorded my dad snoring on the couch and played it back at maximum volume until he chased me up the stairs. But after my parents got a divorce, I started using it differently. I started recording my bedroom at night, not because I believed in ghosts. Not at first, anyway. I did it because I kept waking up in the dead of night with a sickening feeling, the feeling that someone had just been talking to me. It wasn't a dream voice. It wasn't my mom calling out from the hallway. It was a sharp, distinct whisper right beside my ear. Every single morning, I would check the tapes. Most nights, it was absolutely nothing. Just a blank, hollow hiss. Blank hiss. Blank hiss. Then, on October 14th, 2007, I caught it. At first, it was just the sound of my own breathing. The cheap plastic recorder made everything sound tinny and distant, like I was listening from the bottom of a deep well. Then, my mattress creaked. I heard my childhood self shift in bed. And then, a voice spoke. Not yet, it was soft, female, and terrifyingly close to the microphone. I screamed so loudly that my mom thought I had mutilated myself. She listened to the recording twice. The first time, her face turned completely bloodless. The second time, she forced a smile and said it was probably just a stray radio signal or one of my electronic toys. The very next day, the recorder vanished. I assumed she threw it in the trash. I was wrong. My mom passed away 3 months ago. I've been cleaning out her house slowly, because grief is a strange, unpredictable thing. Some days, I can throw away entire boxes of her belongings. Other days, I find a random grocery list written in her handwriting and lose an hour sitting paralyzed on the floor. Last night, I found the recorder. It was buried in a shoebox at the very back of her closet, wrapped in 3 separate dish towels and bound tight with heavy duct tape. There was a bright yellow sticky note slapped on top. In my mom's unmistakable handwriting, it said, "Do not play last file," which, naturally, meant I played every single file except the last one. Most of them were exactly what I remembered. Me singing. Me laughing. My dad pretending to be a monster. My mom saying, "Sweetie, please stop recording while I'm on the phone." Then, I reached the night recordings. Blank hiss. Blank hiss. And then, the October 14th file. My breathing, the mattress creak, and that bone-chilling, soft female voice. Not yet. I sat there in my dead mother's empty bedroom, clutching that tiny machine, suddenly feeling 8 years old again. But as I stared at the screen, I realized there were more files after that, files I had absolutely no memory of making. The next one was dated October 15th. 3 minutes of dead silence, and then my own sleeping voice whispered, "When?" A long pause. Then the woman's voice answered, "When she stops watching." The next file was October 16th. My voice again, thick with sleep. "Who are you?" the woman replied. "The one under your bed." October 17th. My voice, "Are you going to hurt me?" Her, "No." My voice, "Are you going to hurt Mom?" Her, "I already did." That was the exact moment my heart stopped. My mother had a miscarriage before I was born. I only found out about it as a teenager, during one of those toxic family arguments where adults let slip secrets they should have taken to the grave. It was a little girl, according to my aunt, stillborn. My mother never, ever spoke about it. I looked down at the recorder. There was one file left, the last file, the one my mother had begged me, from beyond the grave, not to play. I couldn't resist. The file had no date on it, just a default, automated name, Resi_001. At first I thought the file was corrupted. No hiss, no static, just a heavy, suffocating silence. Then I heard my mother crying, not the weak, fragile crying from her final days when the cancer had hollowed her out. This was a younger cry, raw, panicked, completely breathless. Then her voice came through, trembling. "Please," she whispered, "take me instead." Suddenly, a little girl giggled. The sound made my stomach turn entirely to ice. The little girl's voice said, "You'll forget." My mother sobbed, "No, no, I won't." "You will." There was a horrific, agonizing silence on the tape. Then the little girl spoke one final sentence. "But he'll remember." The recording cut to black. I sat there for God knows how long, staring blankly at the tiny gray machine in my palm. The sun had gone down, and the room had grown pitch black around me without me even noticing. And then my eyes caught the screen. A new file had just appeared. RESC_002. I hadn't pressed the record button. I hadn't touched a single thing, but it gets worse. The timestamp on the file was tomorrow's date. I don't mean the recorder glitched, and I don't mean the system time was wrong. The digital display clearly read, May 17th, 2026. Tomorrow. My hands were shaking so violently, it took me 3 agonizing tries just to hit the play button. Silence first. Then, I heard myself, not the voice of an 8-year-old child. Me. Right now. Older. Breathless. Sobbing. "I'm sorry," my recorded voice whispered. I shouldn't have played it, and in the background of the tape, I heard something heavy being dragged slowly across the floorboards. The awful, scraping sound of it made my teeth ache. Then my recorded voice cried out again. "Mom, please, please tell me what to do." The audio abruptly cut off. A brief pause, and then the woman's voice, the exact same voice from when I was 8 years old, said, "She's not watching anymore. I'm writing this right now from my kitchen table. Every single light in this house is turned on. The recorder is sitting right in front of me, and no matter how hard I try to look at my screen, my eyes keep darting back to it because a few minutes ago, another file appeared. REC_003, tomorrow's date. Again, I haven't played it. I am never going to play it. I just keep sitting here, thinking about what my mom did for me. What she must have realized that night when she snuck into my room and snatched that recorder away. How many nights she spent staying awake, staring into the dark, standing as a human shield between me and whatever horrible thing was whispering to me in the shadows. She did it for years, for the entire rest of her life, and I undid all of her sacrifice in a single hour. Just because I couldn't leave the past alone. I'm so sorry, Mom. I am so sorry. I can hear something moving beneath the kitchen floorboards right now. It's not scratching. It's not knocking.